In the last section, we spoke about a few important notes on the Dart programming language. We're now going to continue by pulling up an online code editor intended to make getting started with Dart very easy and straightforward. So we're going to be using a tool called DartPad. This is a browser-based tool for playing around with Dart. You'll notice that I highlighted or underlined playing around on here. DartPad is not for use for professional projects or anything like that. It's really just a tool to help you get started with the language and play around with very small snippets of code. We can access DartPad by going to dartpad.dartlang.org. So I'm going to open up a new tab inside my browser and I'll navigate there right now. So I'll go to dartpad.dartlang.org. Now once here, you're going to see a couple of different panels on the screen. You'll see some code pre-generated on the left-hand side. So this is code that you and I can write and edit. Then on the right-hand side, you'll see one panel up here towards the top right that's going to eventually show us some output from Dart code that we run. And then on the bottom right-hand side will be some information about the code that we're working on. Now one quick thing I want to mention, you might notice that my DartPad right here looks a little bit different from yours. So in particular, you might notice that you have a footer at the bottom, and I don't. And you might notice that I have a very subtle or faint outline around every line of code over here. These are some very small CSS changes that I made to DartPad on my browser alone, just so that you can more easily see the code that I'm working on inside this course. So if your copy of DartPad looks just a little bit different, don't sweat it, that's totally fine. To use DartPad, we're going to end up writing code on the left-hand side and then clicking on the Run button at the very top up here. If I click it right now, it will execute the code that you see on the left-hand side, and we'll see some output appear on the right-hand side. In addition, if I say click on this main word right here, you'll see a tiny snippet of information on the bottom right about that little chunk of code. So we're going to be using several different features inside of DartPad to get a better handle on the code that we're writing. Now let's take a pause right now. We're going to come back in the next section and start talking about our first little snippet of Dart code that you and I are going to write together.